Just listen with me. Something is breaking. And you may be saying, Joyce, what are you talking about? What is breaking? Well, let me tell you, not just at work, not just at home, but everywhere. Everywhere I turn, I am seeing high performing leaders collapsing from exhaustion, brilliant professionals abandoning their careers. And yes, these are careers they've spent years building. And you know what really breaks my heart? Is when I see marriages crumbling under the weight of chronic stress. And it just keeps getting worse. We see it everywhere. And we keep asking ourselves, why? What's happening? What is the problem? I can't believe they do that. Today, I'm going to tell you why. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how we can RX that problem. Because if we don't, it's only going to get worse. And we're going to be part of that victim. We're going to be part of that whole system of that generation that just didn't make it. Well, I have notes and we're going to talk about it. Welcome here. My name is Joyce Edison. Welcome to the Resilience Catalyst Show. And this is our podcast where we spend time talking to leaders and telling you where you RX your life, your leadership, your legacy. I am your host, and this is my opportunity to share with you some of the key things that's been on my heart. See, as your host, I'm not just a speaker, but I'm also a workplace wellness specialist, a conflict analyst. So for the last 28 years, I've been working with organizations, helping them to address the kind of conflicts that they're seeing every day in their workplaces. And on this show, one of the key things we're doing is helping you to find that resilience that you need. As the resilience catalyst, my job is to help you to find that peace that you're looking for and run a mission to RX the lives of over 1 billion professionals worldwide. The goal here is helping people to reclaim their health, their relationship, their career, and their purpose, because without that, we have nothing. We have to do our part to reclaim what is ours. So here's what I believe in the fiber of my being. Work should never cost us our well-being and our life. You know, it's interesting because my husband just left. He retired 2 years ago and has been struggling with his own health. We see so many people in our age group that are struggling with their health, their mental health, their well-being, their marriages, and we're asked, what is going on? What is going on? We thought we were doing all the right things. But it so happened, all the research is showing that we are burning out in various forms. We have low resilience. It's a global epidemic. You see, what I see, especially for us, is that I see this happening for many professionals, and I'm going to call out some here, especially women of color, leaders of color, high achievers, burning out, breaking down, and battling stress related illnesses. After years of working hard, people are dying without cause, without even recognizing what's happening to them. Like what we've had, like 3 or 4 funerals in the last little while of people who should be living in this beautiful season of their life, giving back, doing more. These are people who have worked, put in the hours, and have the ability to give back to their community. But what are they doing instead? Wrestling, trying to stay alive, spending money in the hospital with doctors after doctors trying to stay alive. This is not how we should be living. At this season, we should be giving back. We should be healthy. We should be able to enjoy our lives, go on vacations, do the things. But if we don't change what's happening in work, and if we don't change what's happening now, the next generation is going to have it even harder. And I am telling you this because the research is not a liar. It's shown. Today we are tackling a powerful truth that most people don't They're too afraid to name, or maybe just don't see. The reality is, this is what we are going through now, is a global resilience epidemic. There's a resilience crisis. We don't have the resilience. Let me tell you, have you seen children in school with anxiety from elementary school, preschool, even in the daycare? Children are hitting each other. They have less patience. They are more violent. You just think, what is going on? Are we losing our ability to be the higher being anymore? Aren't we supposed to be dominating the earth, having dominion over the earth? It's like the other way around. It's like we're floating with our legs up, confused. And this is not right. So, this is what I'm seeing in the bedrooms and in the boardrooms everywhere. And I'm going to share some with you because this is so important. What we're seeing is high performing executives. So we're seeing it in executives. We're seeing leaders, employees, and we're seeing it in our children. Oh my goodness. And of course, the divorce rate is just keep getting higher because we can't cope. Women leaders achieving everything they dreamed of and more, and then feeling really empty. When people are telling me what they're struggling with, it's so sad. Because when I look at it, what I'm seeing is we should not be living this way. We should be living powerful lives. I see too many professionals dying young and living miserably. Hmm. Teams that look productive on paper, but they have such conflict and they are just one step away of imploding. Just awful things happening in the workplace. Business owners building empires while their marriages fall apart. We're seeing professionals of color working twice as hard just to prove their worth, only to end up in the hospital with stress-induced stress. It's just, it's everywhere. And here's what's really breaking my heart, because these aren't lazy people. They're not weak. These they're not failing because they do something bad. These are brilliant, capable, driven individuals who've been conditioned to believe that success requires sacrifice. It doesn't. We don't have to sacrifice ourselves. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Conflict is just part of the job. And their well-being can wait until after the next promotion, next quarter, next milestone, after the busy season, Joyce. We just have no time now, Joyce. Things are so busy. We're just on the go. Sometimes when I sit with leaders and I look at, okay, let's take a look at your calendar. I was like, do you need to go to that meeting? Oh yeah, somebody's scheduling. What's on the agenda? On the agenda? They don't even know what's on the agenda. So if you don't know what's on the agenda, why are you stressed about going to the meeting? It never comes, does it? That break. You have to take it. I had a client the other day, actually attending one of my sessions, and she talked about, oh, Joyce, I did the assessment, I did my RX, and I did my resilience index, and I'm struggling with balance. And can you help me find balance? Balance is not outside us, balance is inside. You have to connect with your balance. Where is it inside of you? Balance is not something out there that you're going to go look for. There is no balance tree. There is no balance tree that we're going to go pick the balance leaves. So, hey, I got some balance leaves. No, we can't. I see the cost of this everywhere. Mental health crisis, diabetes, anxiety disorder, cancer diagnosis that seem to come out of nowhere in strange places, except they don't. Autoimmune diseases that doctors can't quite explain, but they're trying to, hey, they're trying to give you drugs. They don't know what it is, but here's a pill. Or people are running to the doctor asking for medication. Isn't medication supposed to be a last resort. We don't even have time to take care of ourselves. My headache hurts. My head hurts. Oh, I need a Tylenol. No, your head hurts. Drink some water. And then think, oh, did you get enough sleep last night? Did you get your 8 hours of sleep? Have you been drinking your water? Did you go out for fresh air? Like, we've lost our minds. We have gone just berserk. And then marriages ending not because of lack of love, but lack of capacity to connect, capacity to agree and disagree, capacity to say, I don't see it this way, but if you see it that way, okay, we can. I mean, have we forgotten that we're supposed to build consensus? Isn't that what we do in a relationship? So you don't like my idea, you don't like what I'm doing, then hello, let's talk about it. Can you do something and I do something else? Like, I don't know, we have this strange idea of what marriage used to be. We've lost our minds. Like, it has to be Hollywood. We have to be holding hands every day and kissy bitty bitty. And if that's not happening, then he doesn't love me or she doesn't love me. Oh, Lord, please. Children are growing up with anxious, distracted parents who are physically present but emotionally unavailable. And yes, leaders are making terrible decisions because their judgment is clouded by exhaustion. Because some of the things that I'm seeing leaders are doing, I'm like, what are you smoking? Why did you do that? It's because we've lost our resilience. Have mercy. In the workplace, the rising anger, and even on the street, people are shooting people, running over people. Like, have you seen the news lately? There is no concern for human life. I mean, you see it even on a global scale. Look at the wars. Look at the atrocities. Look at the bombing of innocent people, grandmothers and women and children. No heart. We have become a disheartened group of people on planet Earth. My goodness. Unresolved conflicts fester at work. People don't say, okay, you know what? I was really mad with Sarah yesterday. She did this, but you know what? I'm going to forgive her and I'm just going to move through it. And we have no forgiveness. It's like, I mean, look at how many mass shooting. Little children in school have nothing to do with you. Don't even know if you're alive. You're mad, so you're going to go shoot little kids. What is happening in our world? Are we just weaker than previous generations? Because there used to be trouble in the previous generations. They had horses and buggies. I was saying 100 years ago, they had horse and buggy. It would take you a whole day to go to the town to buy grocery, and your buggy you might lose a wheel on the bumpy road, and your grocery might fall over. You have to go put the wheel back, put it back together. Like, hello? What is going on? Nobody killed anybody then. They didn't go out and shoot their neighbors and for no reason. What is wrong with us? Why is this happening? Are we less capable? I believe we're less resilient. The truth, I think, this isn't just a problem. It's a whole life problem. This is not something that we're just going to fix. And then, you know what really bugs me is all the mental health fixes out there. Oh, do this for your mental health and do this. Every darn thing you do impacts your mental health. There is no one thing that's going to fix your mental health. Mental health is a whole life process. Have mercy. You cannot fix a whole life problem with a time management app, a meditation retreat, or another generic leadership training. It ain't working. I've been around too long. It's not working. Let me tell you, when I started my business in 1997, we started doing like anger management, but we did not see the type of anger that I encounter now, 28 years later. Hello, people are really angry now. And the anger we're seeing now is so vicious. They are trying to take people's promotion away, people's ability to to get promoted, people ability to move up in the organization, people ability to even stay employed. The kind of vindictiveness. It's like people, they want to destroy each other everywhere. Look at the murder. I mean, this guy the other day was talking at a college. He was just talking about his beliefs. If you don't want to hear his belief, go somewhere else. Turn off the channel. Why do you have to kill him? A young man who has his family, he can't say what he believes in. He can't preach something that you don't like. Well, I'm even scared just saying this. We are in a resilience crisis and it requires resilient solution. Let me break it down to you what's really happening. For decades, we have treated work and life like they're separate silos. Work-life balance. You know how many calls I got? Joyce, we need work-life balance. Please help us with some work-life. There is no such thing. As if we can neatly divide yourself into compartments. Okay, work over here, life over here. You know what? You only have one life and one body and one nervous system. And when you're burnt out at work, you're irritable at home. When your marriage is in crisis, your performance suffers. When you're financially stressed, your heart and your health deteriorates. When you're spiritually disconnected, everything feels meaningless. That's life. And we need to recognize whole life problems and deal with the whole. I'm so tired of these compartmentalized. Okay, let's just do mental, let's just do mindfulness. Does that fix the real problem? No. I can look at it differently, but it's the same problem. Right? It's all connected. And this is why I created the well-being intelligence system. You know what? I saw this coming. And sometimes I look back and I was like, what was I seeing? I started seeing meanness at work. People were mean. People were having conflict at work. And because these people were close, they would now take the conflict out into the community to now destroy these people community, because all what they found out about the person have brought them too close. They got too close. Now they're destroying people's families and extended family. It's just, I started to see this meanness, and then I started seeing people showing up with diabetes and all these diseases. The same people in conflict, of course, because they're not sleeping. All they're doing is thinking of wicked ways to spite the other person. And they're always angry. They go home, they talk about it at dinner time, they share it with their spouse, they're crying, their children are upset. And I was like, what nonsense. So I started looking at where I'm seeing people, their interpersonal, and then how's this? Like spiritually, their self-esteem, their purpose, their values, their culture. I started putting the 9 dimensions together. And this led to the RX method. Because burnout, workplace conflict, and chronic stress aren't just symptoms to manage. There are signals, red flags, signals. There's a sign, there's a flag. Pay attention. That's the sign. It's a flag. Let's wave that flag. These are signals. They're telling us that something is happening. And yes, if something is fundamentally broken in our system, in our lives. And the solution is not just a quick fix. I remember when, a coach training program, I ran a training, I trained professionals who want to become coaches and use the well-being intelligence system. And I had a doctor on, Dr. Kelly, and when she came in to do her certification and she became aware of the well-being intelligence system, she said, "Oh my goodness, this would be really good for the SLS, the people who come into the emergency department with SLS." And I said to her, "What is SLS? Is that a new disease? I've never heard of it." She started laughing. She's like, "Yeah, shitty life syndrome." So even our lives we're challenged. We have a real problem. Shitty life syndrome, there is no pill for that. Go home and relax. Go home and forgive your neighbors. My husband was a police officer for 27 years, and he'll tell me he would go to a neighbor dispute. Neighbors were so mad at each other and fuming I mean, people always have bad neighbors. I mean, this is not a new thing, but the level we go to right now, it's gone to the next level. It's all connected. And these signals, they're telling you your system, something is broken. And the solution is not it's a whole life reset. In the RX method, when we look at the resilience ecosystem, right? This is what I call it at the end. We're looking at spiritual. This means your purpose. When we go into them, we're looking at what is broken. We are broken spiritually because your spirit is where that inner part of you live. That's where your breath, that's your self-esteem, that's your purpose, that's your values, that's your meaning, that's your faith, that's your hope, that's your vision. This is where everything really starts. This is because if you're a person and you have no vision, no purpose, you're just a being. But until you connect with that spiritual part of yourself, the true essence of you lives in that spiritual part. And then emotional, your capacity to feel and to regulate those thoughts and to say, no, this is not a thought. To connect that back to your spiritual, where your conscience is, and to say, no, this is not something I want to dwell on. And this feeling that I'm having, it's not good. I don't want to feed it. I run a 30-day emotional wellness cleanse. And a lot of people tell me when they go through this emotional wellness cleanse, they're starting to recognize how their emotions, they've let the emotions go over and over again, and how it's really impacting them. And this is so important because when we do that, we have no control. We become feeling beings without the whole part of regulation. We feel, but we don't regulate. And then of course, social connections and community, that's in the social part. Then we go into physical, right? So we go to emotional, that's that regulation we talk about. Then we talk about social, the ability to connect with our community. Then we do physical. This is the ability to take care of yourself, your health, your energy, your vitality. Then we do financial, right? In financial, we're looking at your security, your freedom, your ability to financially provide for yourself. Then we go to occupational. This is your career and fulfillment. Occupational. Then we do intellectual. This is your growth and learning. And you know what strikes me odd? Some people stop learning when they get to a certain age. They stop learning. We should never stop learning. We should always be learning. When you stop learning, that's a big red flag because that means anything goes. Whatever anybody says, you're going to believe. You can't make decisions for yourself. You become swayed in the wind, and everything you hear becomes, oh, a new truth because you're not learning. Instead of taking information, thinking critically, the ability to assess information and decide what's fact and what's not. We've become so lazy that anything we see on social media scrolling, we believe. Even with AI, we have even AI have notes now telling you, I'm not a doctor, my information might be incorrect. It's your job to verify this information. Yes, we've become so lazy intellectually. Environmentally, your surroundings and your space. Interpersonally, your relationships at work and at home. Even one dimension, and there are 9. 6 financial. Do we have physical? Yeah, let's put physical. Oh, we have physical already. So I did not put intellectual. Intellectual. So spiritual, emotional, social, physical, occupational, intellectual, interpersonal. And I am the only expert that really shows the interpersonal how important it is, because some people model it up in other things and they put it, but it's really important on its own. And then environmental. So what we do here is giving you that whole life fix. Because when even one dimension is depleted, it affects everything else. You can't outperform a broken marriage. You can't outachieve chronic illness. You can't out hustle spiritual emptiness. It just doesn't work. I learned this the hard way, and I've had to watch thousands of high achievers learn it too. The executive who thought she needed better time management until she realized her occupational success was costing her interpersonal connection with her kids. Yes, it does. She thinks all she needed to do was have career, and she needed to be so successful, but she took that home too. And then the kids were closer to their babysitter. I mean, that's true for many kids, but hers was at a different level. The leader of color who thought he needed just to work a little harder to prove himself until his body literally shut down and landed him in the hospital. The business owner who thought her marriage problems were just communication issues until she saw how her financial stress at work and work obsession had eroded every dimension of intimacy in the relationship. These aren't separate problems, they're whole life problems, and they need a whole life solution. So here's what transformation looks like. This is where it goes. And this is the reason why I do what I do. You can't RX what you can't measure. How do you know what to do at what level, at what intensity? No, we're talking about your whole life. Can you just go and do a whole life reset? Wouldn't it be easier to do it step by step, chunk by chunk, like I've broken it down? So you can just say, okay, you know what, this month I'm just going to focus on spiritual. I'm going to just take care of myself spiritually. I'm going to check back in with my values. I'm going to check back in with my purpose. I'm going to check in with my vision. And I'm going to give myself 30 days to do that. Doesn't that sound easier? I mean, we have 12 months. If each month of the year you spend checking in with yourself just on one dimension, what do you think is going to happen at the end of the year? You're going to realize that you have improved every area of your life in 12 months. Yeah, that's what we do. That's how we do. You see, the prescription for our life doesn't come from a drug mart, it doesn't come from a pharmacist. It comes from us understanding where we are, our resilience level. That's why I use the resilience index, because it is a comprehensive assessment that measures your strength and your vulnerabilities across 9 dimensions of your resilience ecosystem. Think of it as a full diagnostic of your life. And, I always say to people, don't overwhelm yourself. Don't do. So we've broken it down. Before we had it, so you would do the whole assessment, and then clients wanted to fix everything, and they would come in and be like, Joyce, I don't like my numbers, and how do I fix it all? And I'm like, okay, we can only do one at a time. So you know what we did in this next generation we've deployed? We've given you one dimension at a time. So you measure that 1 month, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do emotional. That's where I think I have the most problem. You measure, and then you get a full report on where you need to work that month. And you can go at your own pace. It doesn't mean you have to do it all in 30 days. You can stretch it to a quarter if you want. You could do this over 2 years. You are in control. But you know what? You're going to feel better because you're doing something about it. And if you're in a marriage, your partner is going to see that there's a change. And if you're at work, your boss, I tell you about the bosses that are calling me and they're like, Joyce, who is this person? We send our employee to work with you and we don't recognize them. Yeah, that's a nice problem to have. they're behaving really well and respectful to everyone and courteous and helpful and collaborative and speaking differently. It just, is this gonna last? These are the questions I get. This isn't a personality test. It's not a quiz that tells you your spirit or your animal or anything like that. This is a data driven analysis where you're thinking, you're thriving, and it really where you're barely surviving. This is what it shows you, where you thriving and where you're barely surviving. You'll get a score of each dimension. And like I said, one dimension a month is enough. As for some people, it's two. You know, I remember doing this with some women who women abuse women in a shelter, and one woman gave, she's like, this is the first time I understand why things are happening in my life. Because she said, I used to just think that these things were randomly happening to me. I didn't realize my life was interconnected and all these little parts mattered and they connected. And so when I did something in this, I now know why I'm having these challenges. I see now how my action emotionally impacted me financially and socially, and how my spiritual, that whole self-esteem is impacting my decision and even my emotions. Maybe your occupational resilience is high and you're crushing it at work, getting promotions, exceeding targets, but your physical resilience is in crisis. You're pre-diabetic, you're exhausted, you're living on coffee and willpower, right? Does that sound like you? Wherever you are. Maybe your intellectual resilience is strong, right? You're thinking intellectually, I'm doing fine. You're constantly learning and growing and evolving, but your interpersonal resilience is suffering. Your marriage is a war zone. Your kids barely know you. Your team sees you as a distant and unapproachable. It's a whole life problem, folks. I've worked with brilliant professionals who thought they were just that good. They were just bad at relationships or just not cut out for leadership. But when they took the RX, resilience index, they weren't broken. They were depleted in specific measurable ways. And that meant they could rebuild strategically. Everything we learn in life is a skill. We come here as a blank slate. So when you're not doing well in something, you can learn a skill. And lots of people say, oh, I don't need a coach. You know what? We don't have enough time to learn everything on the planet. This is where a coach comes in, because that person have learned it before and now they can coach you, and that saves you time. Otherwise, you spend your whole life learning everything, and by the time you, okay, I learned everything, you can't even put it together to execute. One of my clients, a high achieving woman in tech, she discovered her spiritual and intellectual resilience were off the charts, but her emotional and social resilience, they were non-existent. She'd built an empire, but had no one to share it with. Does that ring a bell? No capacity to process her feelings and no support system. Once she saw her profile, everything changed. She started RX in her life, dimension by dimension, like I said to you. That's where those people who have the most success, they're taking their time and they realize, you know what, I didn't do this to myself last year or this year, or it took me all my life to do this. Now I'm going to take the time to do it. Give yourself that 12 months. Building emotional capacity, captivating real friends. She started cultivating those new friends in her life, engaging with people, reconnecting with what matters, and she went beyond the metrics. It's in 6 months, she told me, for the first time in my career, I feel successful and whole. So you have the needle. You get to choose. That's the power of knowing your numbers. So here's my invitation. Take the resilience index. I am hosting the free resilience index challenge. And you get to see, we're only going to do one dimension, as I said. I keep my words. I'm not going to give you all 9 to do. I'm going to give you one dimension. We're going to go in, you're going to assess your score, you're going to get your roadmap. Because once you know where you're depleted, you're not guessing anymore. You're building, you're now building with precision. You now have a strategy. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Joyce, This song's great, but I'm really drowning. I don't have time for one more thing. Well, I get it. I really do. I am busy too. I am busy building things and trying to help people live a better life. And there's so many people to do to do that for. But what I've done, I thought that of that because a lot of people tell me, "Hey, I'm busy." That's exactly why I didn't create a 12-week course. You don't have time to finish. Some people go in and they never finish the course. So another 300-page book. I've written 7 books that just gather dust on the shelf because I see some of those people are challenged in the same areas and I know they've bought the book, right? I created something you can actually implement. And you know what? It has elements of all my 7 books in it. I created the resilience clinics. And what I did is that I pull all my books and all the elements, and I've created the resilience clinics to align with the 9 dimensions. So what you've measured, we have clinics aligned with it. And you can come into a monthly clinic. These are monthly, they're live guided sessions where we RX your life one dimension at a time using the RX method. And so we focus on the issues for that month around that dimension to help you elevate. So you're not dealing with fluff. This is not theory. It's not fluff. These are real tools. These are practical strategies, micro practices that fit into your life that you can actually use. And this is what clients always say, Choice, you give us stuff we can actually use. Isn't that my job? I am so tired of people going to workshops and you getting nothing. Each month we focus on one dimension. 1 month we are RXing your emotional resilience, building your capacity to regulate, respond instead of react, and feeling without being consumed. We can feel without being consumed by our emotions. It's hard, but we can do it. We can develop the muscles. It is not rocket science. Then another month, we're RXing your relationships. We're giving you conflict resolution tools that actually work in real marriages and real teams and real families. I have a book on a marriage that thrives. I have a book on conflict. I have a book on interpersonal. It's just unbelievable how I have seen these happening over and over again. And now with the RX method, we move into RX in your physical health, your financial stress, your career fulfillment, your spiritual foundation, all of it. We go through each of it. And here's what makes this different from every other wellness program. We address the root cause, not just the symptoms, right? We're not just talking about, oh, you're angry. Let's do anger management. Why are you angry? What's happening in the other dimensions? Where are you off balance that's causing the anger? We don't just give you stress management techniques while you stay in a toxic job. We help you RX your career so work stop costing you your well-being. And sometimes that means finding a new job, updating your resume, help you RX your relationship so you can thrive at work and at home. This is for leaders who are exhausted from leading and everyone else while neglecting themselves. It's for professionals who are overworking, trying to fix workplace culture with tools that actually work. It's for HR professionals who want to say, I need something else in my workplace. We need a new way. We need a shift because the same thing, doing the same thing over and over again. That's what Einstein called crazy, right? We're doing the same thing over. We'll just have another workshop. Or we just have, okay, we need a training on this. Isn't that exhausting? High performing executives navigating burnout while still exceeding targets. What about the women in leadership tired of providing themselves? Just proving yourself all the time? Well, let's talk. What about leaders of color carrying the weight of representation while fighting systemic stress? It's heavy. It's heavy when you're that only person of color. Business owners, oh my gosh, building empires, losing their marriages, that is becoming an epidemic because business can take so much. It can consume you and you have to find that balance. any professional or person who realize that success without well-being isn't success at all, this is for you. And the best part, you can join our last free resilience clinic. It's next week. It's Thanksgiving in Canada. It's a time to give thanks. It's a time to give praise. It's a time to be grateful for what we have. And so this resilience index burnout challenge is happening. And it's no risk, no pressure, just one experience can and see what happens when you start RX in your life with intention and support, because you're not supposed to do it alone. We will do our best, but we need the help and support. I'm going to drop the link here for you so you can get the RX. You can join the challenge, because sometimes we don't know why something is there. And so it's important for us to do. And I'm going to drop the link here for you so you can see and you can actually put it in. So here is the link. Here's the link for the challenge that you can actually use. And we've put it in the notes for the show. And you can actually go and join the challenge from there, because it's so important for us to take care of ourselves. And I don't want you to just stop there. I want you to join me live. Bring your struggles, bring your questions. Let's RX life together, because on your own, it's hard. It feels overwhelming. And if you've already taken one resilience assessment, that's powerful, but don't stop there. Let's complete them all. Get your full resilience index score. And this is what I see again. The dimension you think your problem usually is, it isn't the real issue. It's always something underlying. So you think you need a new job, but actually you need interpersonal resilience because it's depleted. You're surrounded by toxic relationships at work and at home all the time. That's depleting your resilience. You think you need better time management, but actually your spiritual resilience is empty. You've lost sight of what you're doing, your purpose, your why. You think you need marriage counseling, but actually your occupational stress is bleeding into every relationship. So we have a structure and a framework. The full profile reveals the whole story. And at once you can see everything, because you get such rich awareness with everything looking at you. You know exactly where to focus your energy, exactly how to RX your life most effectively. So I want you to take the assessment, then build your complete resilience index. Because you know what? Before we close, I want to leave you with this truth. This isn't just about you. I mean, it's about you, but it's also about your health, your happiness, your success, your peace. But it's bigger than that. You see, when you RX your life, you change time's trajectory. Your kids grow up watching a parent who prioritizes well-being alongside achievement. Your partner gets the best version of you, not just the leftovers. The resentment that costs in the relationship when the partner feels that you have no time for them. When you RX your leadership, you transform your workplace. Your team learns that higher performance doesn't require human sacrifice, and your organization becomes a model of what's possible when well-being is non-negotiable. And when you RX your relationship, you heal generations. You break cycles of burnout and breakdown and dysfunction in your relationship. You create new patterns of resilience and thriving. You create new patterns that will work for you, but also for the next generation. This is a global movement. And my goal is to get healthier workplaces, stronger leaders, and more resilient lives for all of us. Because the new world, it needs you. It needs you whole. Your family needs you present. Your team needs you resilient. And yes, you deserve to thrive, not just survive. So let's do it together. I don't want to be doing it alone. Heaven, I've been RX in my life. I want help. I want company. Let's RX our lives to the next level of health, happiness, wealth, career, and success. One dimension at a time, as I said earlier. One clinic at a time, one resilient leader at a time, one resilient person at a time. We can do it together. We need to stop overwhelming ourselves and doing piecemeals without a structure. It's okay to do a meditation app. It's okay to do a breath work. But are we connecting them to anything? What is the ROI? What are we achieving? What is the goal we're attaining? We need to be clearer on that for our own mental health. Again, my name is Joyce Sodelson, and this is your Resilience Catalyst podcast. If this episode resonated with you, here's what I need you to do. Subscribe to this episode and share it on your social media, your platform. Uh, Connect with me on Instagram. You can tag me. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. So these are the places where you can find me. Especially, I want you to subscribe and share with a leader or professional that's a high achiever who's barely holding it together. We see them. Take your resilience index. Join me for the upcoming resilience challenge. Let's get your score, know your numbers, and join me for that resilience clinic. It's something that you get once you sign up and attend the resilience index. You get a link to join the next resilience clinic session, and just it's just amazing. This experience, it will feel like you've RX your life with expert guidance and community support. This isn't just a podcast, this is a movement. And we're RXing lives worldwide. Will yours be the next? All the links are in the show notes, so you can go there. Until next time, stay resilient, stay thriving, and let's RX together because we can do it one dimension at a time. I'll see you next time.